Bilateral talks come as Biden seeks to restore the 2015 UN-backed Iran nuclear deal abandoned by Trump. Officials from the United States and Israel met by video conference Thursday to discuss the two countries' security challenges in the Middle East, as well as the Biden administration's plan to re-engage diplomacy with Iran on nuclear weapons. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and his Israeli counterpart, Meir Ben-Shabbat, took part in the first U.S.-Israel bilateral security meeting since President Joe Biden took office in January. It came as the Biden administration was seeking a return to a 2015 nuclear deal that saw Iran agree to curb its nuclear program in exchange for a lifting of international sanctions. It's vital to the president, to the administration, that as we are looking ahead to approaching diplomacy and moving toward a diplomatic track to preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon, that Israel be briefed on the plans, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said. Israel for years has criticized and sought to derail that international accord, from which former U.S. President Donald Trump unilaterally withdrew in 2018 in favor of his administration's maximum pressure strategy against the Iranian government. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who had campaigned against the 2015 United Nations-backed agreement, recently hinted that Israel might resort to military action against Iran. "We are not pinning our hopes on any agreement with an extremist regime such as yours," Netanyahu said in a recent speech directed at Iran. "With or without agreements, we will do everything so that you will not arm yourselves with nuclear weapons." Senior Israeli officials, including Defense Minister Benny Gantz, have said Israel is upgrading contingency plans to attack Iran if it appears to be escalating its nuclear activities. Psaki said Biden is committed to a diplomatic path with Iran, and administration officials believe earlier Israeli opposition to diplomacy had quieted a bit after Iran demonstrated, while the deal was still in effect, that it was complying with limits imposed on its enrichment of uranium. There was a recognition of the benefit of visibility on the ground. "We don't have that now. We haven't had it since the Trump administration pulled out of the deal," Psaki said. "We are very familiar with the concerns Israel has expressed, and that's one of the reasons we engage them so closely around this and many other issues," she said.